Welcome back to Checkpoint. Thank you for staying with us. Let's get to that special feature where for over 8 years, residents of Owino Uhuru slum in Mombasa have battled the government in the court corridors against the lead poison that had left about 400 people dead, including the unborn, while several others have permanent injuries from the smelting company that was established in their vicinity. It's almost been a decade, and though the factory was closed, the effects still linger. While the Supreme Court directed a compensation of 2 billion Kenya shillings in December 2024, compensation remains a pipe dream. Here's a special report prepared for you, Wounds of Owino Uhuru by Tobias Chanji.
6th December 2024 was a day to behold for a landmark ruling that granted these residents 2 billion shillings as compensation for the atrocity visited upon them. While the court's victory was a milestone, the pain has stayed, making them feel like looking through rose-colored glasses. After all, each day is what they have. After all, tomorrow could be a mirage that may make the mistake sand for water.
She died in September, soon after childbirth, all right? Because her body could not pump the amount of lead that were in her system. And therefore, when it reached the intestines, it gave up and she died. She has left a baby who most likely has lead poisoning. This is one case. We have so many of such cases in the community.
The recommendation ni kuwa you cannot put an industry kama hiyo mahali ambapo watu wanaishi.
The alluring sunrise of Mombasa justifies the birth of a new day, justifying this coastal city's position as a top tourist destination. But just like the fabled bed of roses, it comes with its fair share of barbs or thorns for some residents.
Owino Uhuru, this is an informal settlement of approximately 4,000 people as of 2009. It sprawls over 13.5 acres within the port city of Mombasa, Kenya. For residents of this slum, grappling with poverty and the darker side of the coastal city is a daily endeavor. Most eke out a living through small-scale trade, often with meager stock worth no more than 1,000 shillings. Others survive on menial jobs. In 2009, the metal refinery EPZ Limited, housed by herbal agencies, was established here. The company that owned the factory was owned by former Nyali Member of Parliament, Hezron Awiti Bolo. Many here saw this as a windfall, hopes of job creation and a boost to the local economy, crowned a collective air of desire for a better future. Little did they know this factory will be the beginning of a blurred horizon and the end of their dreams. The plant has been responsible for over 400 deaths and numerous permanent injuries. It was engaged in smelting lead metal. Among the first casualties was Lynette Nabwire. She was expectant.
Last month, we lost Lynette Nabwire. I know the NEMA office is aware. She had 238 milligrams per deciliter of lead in her blood. And when she delivered, her body could not pump the blood, and she therefore died 4 weeks after delivery. We did a post-mortem, which included the government chemists, and they have ascertained that she died because of the lead poisoning in Owino Uhuru.
Irene Akinyi was the first to test positive for lead poisoning and has been living with a thyroid lump for nearly a decade. This young boy is called Sammy. Relatives describe him as vibrant. He also succumbed to the deadly poison and now lives in the fond memories of those who cherished him.
Sammy kwa tabia zake, yes, nilikuwa ni mtoto mzuri, mtoto mtiifu na nidhamu. Mara kidogo nikasikia ati nasikia Sammy ameaga dunia. Nikasikia vibaya.
Environmentalist Phyllis Somido is the current executive director of the Center for Justice, Governance and Environmental Action. She is the whistleblower of these first programs as more victims came forward.
Private organizations and some of the government have tested up to 300 victims. So we still have more than 3,000 victims that have not been tested. The last time they came and drew blood from 250 people. That is the public health with NEMA and other organizations, but they never brought back the results. It's been more than a year now. Owino Uhuru is toxic. We cannot live there. The water we drink is poisoned. The soil our children play on is poisoned. The roofs are poisoned.
Mimi ambao mzamtasa hii niko chini, nimekuwa kiwete. Siwezi kumwambia msichana mtu nataka kuoa. Siwezi kuzaa.
Watu wameumia sana. Watu wamekufa, watu wameathirika wengi.
Given the rampant cases, action was imperative. Dr. Simba Tirima is a Kenyan environmental scientist.
Tumekuja hapa hivi leo na mashine ambayo tunaita XRF. Na hii mashine huwa inapima kiwango cha lead kwa ardhi. Na hapa nyuma yetu tunaona kulikuwa na smelter ambayo wanatengeneza battery na wana lead ambayo inatumika kwa hizo battery. Ubaya wa lead ni kwamba ni sumu sana, na especially kwa watoto kama hawa. Huwa ina sana wadhuru akili zao na mwili kadhalika. Anyway, shida sana ni hivi. Lead ikiingia kwa damu huwa inaanza ku damage ubongo. Hizo damages ni za maisha. Hauwezi ku reverse, especially damage za ubongo. Pale karibu na smelter tumepata readings ambaye zimetustua kweli. Kule Marekani level ya concern ni 400 parts per million kwa mchanga ambaye watu huwa wanaishi karibu na. Pale tumeona over 11,000 parts per million lead. Hiyo ni hatari zaidi.
He describes the dangers occasioned by the lead poisoning.
Na hata watu wakubwa huwa inawadhuru. Huwa wengine watakuwa na high blood pressure labda, wengine watakuwa na kidney problems, wengine watakuwa na shida ya moyo labda. Na at higher levels kwa damu huwa ina affect mambo ya uzazi.
With no hope in sight, residents took to the streets, demanding justice and access to information as more died. Their primary grievance was against the Ministry of Environment, which had licensed the killer factory. They walked 28 kilometers to and from the National Environment and Management Authority NEMA offices. It was a biblical scale journey with the children and the elderly all taking part.
Naitwa Sami Mwanzia. Na wewe kwa nini uko kwa hii maandamano? Kwa hii maandamano kwa ile kuzuru na ile moshi na watoto wengi kuumia, hata watu wazima. Kama mimi mwenyewe nimeumia miguu yangu.
Here to remind the National Environmental Management Authority that the people of Owino Uhuru are living in a toxic environment. They are the ones that licensed the smelter that set shop in Owino Uhuru community. And therefore, we demand justice, because we know that you cannot claim to protect the environment without protecting the rights of the people.
Numerous protests will follow, resulting in arrests. Police were also accused of brutality. Despite these hardships, the residents viewing their struggle as a David versus Goliath battle persisted. The factory was eventually shut down in 2013 through the East African Community Parliament after failed attempts to engage Kenyan Parliament, Senate and political processes.
Been to the Senate committee, they messed up our report. They wrote that everything that we presented before the Senate to petition it was right. But then at the end, they attached a group of directors for a different company and not the company that we were suing. So in that case, they enabled the company that we were suing to exit the country. That's why now we are suing even the government, because they are enabling these people to poison us and then run away. People like the EPZ authority, we told them that these people will exit.
Armed with the evidence, including test samples, hospital reports, funeral homes invoices, burial permits, and death certificates, they filed a petition number 1/2016 at Mombasa's Land and Environmental Court. They cited environmental pollution against government agencies, the factory owner, and those responsible for cleanup.
Mewaka, moto mewaka. Moto mewaka. Tena moto mewaka. Moto mewaka. Moto mewaka. Moto mewaka. Kuanzia 2009 tukisema jamani, sometimes we were too broke, we didn't have money. Sometimes we were being arrested and arraigned in court. We have gone through a lot. So we are grateful that we are here today. We want justice to take its course.
Tumedhirika area Owino Uhuru, Mkindani location, na tumeshukuru kuona kesi yetu imeenda kotini. Tunajua haki itatendeka. Tunajua sisi wanyonge na serikali tunajua ni watu wajanja, lakini tunashukuru hii kesi kwa kotini, kama jaji atatumika haki, tunajua haki yetu itapatikana.
Tulikuwa tumeona kama hatutafaulu katika kupendeza tufike hapa. Naona ajabu leo tumefika hapa. Mahali ambapo ilikuwa ni pagumu kufika hapa. Lakini kwa heshima ya Mwenyezi Mungu ametubariki, tumefika kwa wingi na tumepokelewa kwa uzuri.
Nina matumaini kwa sababu tuko na Mungu atatutangulia kwa penye tumefika, tumetoka mbali.
Tuna furaha, hatukujua kama tutafika na tumefika leo. Tunaomba tu serikali tusaidie.
However, the case told victims resorted to another round of protests.
Kwa sababu sitaki kufanya kitu nyuma ya mgongo wenu, si ndio? Na wale ambao wamesikia vile ameongea, amesema ya kuwa wamejua uzito wa kesi yetu na kuahirisha, wanasema ni kwa sababu yule judge aligonjeka.
The case eventually resumed. Former CJGEL lawyer Francis Raiola Ochieng became a High Court judge. On July 17th, 2020, an environmental court sitting in Nairobi awarded 2 billion shillings to residents of Owino Uhuru slum in Mombasa as compensation for lives lost and health impacts. However, their happiness was short-lived. The government appealed this decision, and on Friday, June 23rd, 2023, the appellate court overturned the 2 billion shilling damage award. Justices Gatembu Kairu, Pinya Mwea, and Lesit J also set aside the 700 million shilling fine imposed for the respondents' failure to clean up the lead-poisoned environment. The judges then directed that the matter of damages be heard afresh before Lands Court in Mombasa. This followed an appeal by the National Environment Management Authority NEMA against the original award, which was made by Justice Ann Omolo on July 16th, 2020, and awarded to over 3,000 residents from 580 homes. Undeterred, they took the case to the Supreme Court. On December 6th, 2024, the Supreme Court affirmed the 2 billion shilling compensation, ending an 80-year battle.
Today, we celebrate the victory that we've had at the Kenya Supreme Court, where the Owino Uhuru community award that was given by the Land and Environment Court in 2019 has been reinstated. Let us keep in mind the fact that this case has been in court since 2016. It has taken the resilience not only of the Owino Uhuru community, but our partners as well, to enable us get to where we are today.
3 months after the ruling, Owino Uhuru residents complained of delays in the release of the 2 billion shillings awarded by the Supreme Court last December. The villagers, many of whom still suffering from lead poisoning, expected to use the funds for treatment. However, there was no indication on when the government agencies and investors they sued would honor the deal. They have now formed a committee which has been introduced to the community.
Nilikuwa na kichwa kila mara tumbo. Mnapoona pia hiyo yenye iko kwa shingo. Nilipofika mahali kwenye walikuwa naenda kunitoa hiyo goita, wale madaktari walikataa. Hiyo lady iko juu mpaka nifike mahali mpaka ile lady teremke ndio wapate kunitoa.
Even when justice is done, it should be seen to have been done, not focusing on the end, but focusing on the process, that the community should be able to relate with the process. So that's why we are here today, to ensure that each and every member of the Owino Uhuru community understands the judgment and what process is going to take place before they access their effective remedies that they went to court for.
As they cling on their hope for compensation, these two could soon be deferred. However, their desires remain their tree of life, a life that lies in the compensation of which the state is now dragging its feet.
Hii mkutano ivunjwe, si halali. Hii mkutano ivunjwe, si halali. Siwezi athirika mimi na watoto wangu karibu wote. Utapata mpaka wengine na vilema. Hii ni nini? Ni nini mnatuletea?
Now they are here spending money that they are not supposed to spend and weaponizing the county against us. They're asking the county to arrest us. What have we done? Because we are asking them to follow the law. This is wrong. We are going to court, we are going to arrest them because it doesn't matter. Even if someone is within government and they are breaking the law, they are taking the law into their own hands, they have to be arrested. So we are here to oppose what they are doing. We are not going to accept NEMA to subvert the law. The Supreme Court was very clear. If they have not done anything within 3 months of the judgment, they must leave that money to CJ to clean up.
According to Phyllis Omido, a considerable time had passed by March 6th, 2025, since the Environmental Land Court orders were issued.
But today there's a meeting being held by NEMA in Matayandege. Matayandege ni kwetu. Matayandege ni kwetu. There is nowhere in the Supreme Court judgment where the court mentioned Matayandege. That's a different community.
Nilipoteza mtoto wangu Sami pamoja na my wife Catherine Awuor.
Mimi ni mmoja wa wale waadhiriwa na pia mtoto wangu aliadhirika.
Msichana halibado na ile ugonjwa, akatoa mimba kama zilitoka mimba 5 nikazika watoto 5. Saa hii nilikuwa naona mama Phyllis ametutetea, angalau nipate haki yangu. Saa hii ndio nimeambiwa watu wa NEMA wanakuja. Mimi naomba ile ilikuwa iwe hiyo.
Nilikuja nikakutana na hiyo kitu nikakuwa mgonjwa, nikaenda polisi nikalazwa wiki 2. Saa hii niko na mzee wangu ana macho. Saa hii kijana wangu alichanganyikiwa akili, alipomaliza university akachanganyikiwa akili. Saa hii msichana wangu pressure inamsumbua. Mimi natumia 1500 kwa mwezi kununulia watu wote ndawa. Hivi mnaniona hivi mimi nitatoa 1500 wapi?
NEMA walikuwa kwa wapi? Leo NEMA wampata story ya milioni 700 ndio wanatoka sasa bio. Jana wafanya mkutano kwa Deputy County Commissioner, ati leo waitishe watu tena. Katika kuitisha watu sio Owino Uhuru, waitishe watu kando ya Owino Uhuru. Uliona wapi mahali kwenye shida watu wakaondolewa kwenda kuizungumza shida hiyo mahali kwingine? Ina maana kwa kuna njia fiche.
Na kama tuko outside the timeline, nani ataamua? Ni sisi hapa ama ni court ile iliamua? Si tuende iko court, sisi tumesubmit yetu na yeye asubmit yake kwa court, aseme tuko outside the timeline.
They say a dirge is a song of lamentation for the dead. As residents of Owino Uhuru sing and dance, only nature knows who is next for the land of the departed. As Owino Uhuru lead poisoning laid the way to the early graves, the unfortunate victims. Tobias Chanji, KTN, Mombasa County.
Kenya's Sebastian Sawe wins the men's London